their information on green zones, I highly suggest you do. So this is about their shielding approach and how it aims to reduce the number of severe COVID-19 cases by limiting contact between individuals at a higher risk of developing severe disease and the general population. High-risk individuals would be temporarily relocated to the green zones or safe zones. In theory, shielding may serve its objective to protect high-risk populations from disease and death. However, implementation of the approach necessitates strict adherence to protocol. There are 3 different levels, so please pause and read. They would utilize able-bodied, high-risk people to take care of the others in these camps. They know community acceptance and involvement in the design and implementation is key. And even with community involvement, there may be a risk of stigmatization. Plan for extended duration of at least 6 months. They note that the approach is not meant to be coercive, but it may appear forced or misunderstood.
Ronald Reagan said, as Ronald Reagan said, as Ronald Reagan said, and I quote, "If we lose freedom here, there is no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth."
Article, and it is a grave message from France to the other Western nations. Now, I didn't know that it was this bad in France. I mean, they're like living in pure tyranny over there. So I truly do hope that people take heed to this warning. And there are some things that we can do in order to keep from becoming what France is going through right now. And I'll talk about that here in the end. I did not know that things were so accelerated in France. I think this is a very important thing to listen to. That way we can prepare for what's coming here in the United States, because I can already see it happening in several states. Here in France, it has gone to the extreme with the health pass. Last week on the 21st, all restaurants, bars, coffee shops, and any leisure activities like sporting events, theaters, cinemas, museums were closed to anyone without the pass. And all staff at these places are mandated to get the vitamin shot in order for them to keep their job. It is now a 6-month prison sentence if you are caught inside any of these places without the pass. The man who slapped the president in the face only got 3 months in prison. I'm not sure if all of you are aware that here a few months ago, someone slapped President, I forget his name, but somebody slapped him out in public and he got a 3-month prison term for that. Business owners will get a fine of 45,000 euros and 1 year in prison if they do not comply and use the pass and force all their employees to get the vitamin shot. All the low-paid employees quit. They can make more money on welfare here. For now, we can still technically get takeout food. But I just tried last night, and every restaurant in our town that is dine-in with takeout has closed their doors due to lack of staff. As of last week, all doctors, nurses, and health industry workers have been mandated to get the vitamin shot or lose their license, or practice, or job in business. All healthcare here is government-paid positions, and there are no private healthcare doctors or hospitals. See, ladies and gentlemen, once you allow the government to take over any one industry, then you are at the government's behest in order to be able to receive that service. Since the healthcare system is state-run and funded, it has been run into the ground. All the good doctors left France 5 years ago. All the hospitals look like they are third world hospitals since there is no money to repair them. Half of the equipment doesn't work, and not every hospital is stocked with supplies needed for daily need. For 5 years, nurses have been understaffed and doing double the work because the healthcare system is nearly bankrupt. So add this to the mandatory vitamin shot. So this is the result of all of these mandates that they've been putting. They've taken to the streets by the millions, and now all the hospitals just lost another 50% of their staff. My doctor just went into early retirement, i.e., he quit, and I have yet to find a replacement. As of August 1st, all large malls, retail stores, and grocery store owners and their staff need to get the vitamin shot, and the health pass is required to enter for employment and customers. This would be the equivalent of closing all Targets, Walmarts, Costco's, Home Depots, and all major grocery stores. Truckers will be going on strike nationwide, blocking all access roads in and out of Paris. Yesterday, an entire airport in northern France closed due to the majority of staff quitting. As of September 15th, all public areas and access will be off limits. No farmers markets, no parks, no national parks, lakes, rivers, beaches, recreation areas, campsites, etc. And no gathering over 100 people, no churches, no weddings, etc. As of 1 October, all small vendors such as delis, pizza trucks, sandwich shops, butchers, bakers, vegetable stands, etc. will only be able to purchase food by internet and pickup, if allowed. Food shortages, truckers strike, hospitals and airports shutting down, unemployment going through the roof. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Is it me, or does this seem a bit extreme for a pass that isn't exactly working? And they finish it up by saying, America, Canada, England, Australia, New Zealand, you'd better wake up. I think that it is really up to three things for this to not happen like it's happening in France, here in the United States, and in other countries. Number one, the state governors. Any state governor that tells the federal government to pound sand and that they're not going to put up with this and that they're not going to enforce any of this, that's going to be a big plus. Any states where the governors adhere to these tyrannical rulings are going to be suffering just as much as France is today. Law enforcement. Law enforcement have to remember that they took an oath. That they took an oath to protect and serve the people. That they took an oath to the Constitution of these United States. And they have to know what the Constitution says, so they have to actually read it. Too many people that take that oath don't even know the basic Bill of Rights. And number three, the people have to stand up and say no. Just like Bear Independence said, I saw one of his videos here a few days ago where he seemed very aggravated. And he said, it's time to say no.
Also, on the faces of people going by, I see pigeons shaking heads, saying, how should you? I want them saying, I hate you. I hear from voters cry because of so knows much more. They'll never know, and I think to myself, I could screw up this world.
What do you think about that from the president, making it very clear that he wants schools to reopen, and in fact, there could be negative outcomes for those that don't?
Well, one, we should definitely open up the schools, and we need to stop listening to Dr. Fauci, who is funded by Bill and Melinda Gates. Definitely open up the schools, and we need to stop listening to Dr. Fauci, who is funded by Bill and Melinda Gates. Definitely open up the schools, and we need to stop listening to Dr. Fauci, who is funded by Bill and Melinda Gates. And all of your listeners know this, I know this, you know this, we all know this, but Jeffrey Epstein's not a good man, and Bill Gates spent a lot of time with Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein's not a good man, and Bill Gates spent a lot of time with Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. So I don't think we should be listening to a pedophile for how to treat our kids, period. And we shouldn't be listening to people who spend time with pedophiles as it relates to our kids. So if Bill Gates wanted to watch my kids as a babysitter, I wouldn't let him do it. I'm certainly not going to use a vaccine he recommends. And Bill Gates has asked Dr. Fauci to serve on his board for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So stop listening to Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci. They're corrupt individuals, and Bill Gates hangs out with pedophiles consistently. Why would he hang out with Epstein? Why would he do that? It's sick.
Doctor's office for 55 minutes in the room. Been at my doctor's office for 55 minutes in the room. Waiting. This is a monthly thing. It used to take 10-15 minutes max. Since the vaccine came out, I decline it. I've been waiting. Every doctor appointment, 40-45 minutes, no matter what. When he comes in, I'll record him. And we'll see if he tries to give me the shot, just like every time. You think of your kids, you need to think of yourself, think of other people. Huh? You been vaccinated again? No. You need to get vaccinated. Yeah. What do you mean? That's not the answer. You get vaccinated, otherwise I'm going to have to not take care of you anymore. You can't do that though. It's not a mandatory thing. Well, it's going to be. It's not mandatory, but it is to be in my practice. This is what I'm suggesting, is I'm thinking of terminating all the patients who refuse to be vaccinated. Is that legal? Yeah, because I can terminate people I have to give you a certified letter and tell you that I'm no longer going to take care of you. You know why? Because you're putting me at risk. And I don't mind you not taking care of yourself. I don't mind you doing drugs. I don't mind you not taking care of your diabetes, your high blood pressure, or weigh 200 pounds more than you should. I don't care about any of those things.
Now more so than ever, to the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, to be like unto the great millstone here in Chicago. This definition of propaganda, right, and propagandists. And I'm going to start with propagandists. It says, consistently spreads a certain doctrine, principles, or like as advocacy of war, prohibition of birth control. Propaganda, any organization or method for spreading a certain opinion or belief. The opinion or belief thus spread. Propagandists again. One who consistently spreads certain doctrines, principles, or the like as advocacy of war, prohibition of birth control.
A warning Friday from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security that violent extremists could try and use the reimposition of COVID-19 related restrictions as a reason to conduct attacks. The department said that COVID-19 related stress has, quote, contributed to increased societal strains and tensions.
And see, they told on themselves right there because they're stressing the people out. People have lost their jobs, their way of life, their restaurants, their businesses, their way to support their families. This is an expected result. So they can predict this because they're pushing the people to that. Meanwhile, gun sales went up the whole time that Barack Obama was in, and continued with Joe Biden. So we got a heavily armed society, ironclad military that can put them down no matter how heavily they arm. Although they probably will do some damage before they are put down. Then you take a stick and you poke the hornet's nest on the beehive. All right. So this is all the plan. Let me grab another quick scripture. popped in my head. So, this one. This is Daniel 8:25. He's going to give this long diplomatic democracy explanation on how to handle this. But I always give the analogy of the brave man running into the building to save, to rescue the woman from loving on her hero, her rescuer, not knowing that he's the one that started the fire. This policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. He shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but shall be broken without hand. So, and I can't wait for that day. The Lord's gonna smash and break down the dragon, knock the teeth out of the dragon, man. But let's let it continue.
Driving several plots by domestic violent extremists, and they may contribute to more violence this year. In an interview with CNN, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said his department sees domestic violent extremists as, quote, the greatest terrorist-related threat to our homeland, fueled by false narratives and ideologies of hate.
Enter guns and drugs into certain areas and neighborhoods, which happens here in America, by the way. All right? And then you strategically place surveillance there. Not only are you the predicted result is that the drug related situations, you're gonna get a lot of bodies from fights over territory between two different factions. Secondly, you're going to get elimination of your quote unquote enemy. Thirdly, you're going to get plenty of court cases and plenty of bodies into the prison industrial system. So they win everywhere around.
Terrible news for everyone. Yesterday, we heard that a single father had the police turn up at his house and remove his daughter because he's homeschooling her and he doesn't believe in COVID. They turned up at night, they threatened to kick his door in. They took his daughter, who's 11. They've called it on. The police are coming into our houses and removing our children now. Police are coming into our houses and removing our children now. Thankfully, the group of people I'm with are bending over backwards now to help this man and his daughter.
Day after day, there's more and more videos coming out of certain farmers and agricultural workers. But basically, they're getting letters in the mail telling them that they have to destroy their crops, dump oil all over. I don't know if you've seen these videos, but I've been seeing them.
Is it true that the government is paying farmers to destroy their crops? And the simple answer to that is yes, they are.
I initially heard about the government paying farmers to destroy their crops. I thought it was a load of bullshit. Well, lo and behold, we received our destruction notice the other day. So basically, there's two options on how to destroy the crop. The government could fly on Agent Orange, or we could manually destroy the crop ourselves. We put too much blood, sweat, and tears in it to let them destroy it, so we decided to manually do it ourselves. Basically, it said if we used a lawnmower to destroy the crop, we could receive an extra $600 an acre. Something about the low carbon footprint or tears in it to let them destroy it, so we decided to manually do it ourselves. Basically, it said if we used a lawnmower to destroy the crop, we could receive an extra $600 an acre. Something about the low carbon footprint or something. So that's what we're doing. Now, they really didn't tell us how many acres to destroy. They just said get after it and we'll be watching you from satellite. We'll give you a call when you've destroyed enough. Well, better get back after it.
Well, what you saw right there ought to concern you. I was doing exactly what I was told via a letter I got last night in the mail from the Department of Hydrocarbons. They said in order to stabilize oil prices, they need a bunch of oil just dumped. And not dumped on the market, just dumped on lease roads and field roads and things like that. Stabilize oil prices, they need a bunch of oil just dumped. And not dumped on the market, just dumped on lease roads and field roads and things like that. So I'm hooked up to that oil tank, going straight into my truck to get rid of it. Well, I'm going to get fined if I don't get rid of it, they said. So that prompted me to call District Selectman Tony Deloge and ask him about this letter. He said he didn't know much about it, but he would suggest that I follow whatever it says. So here we go. You know, these are some serious times right now. Since January, oil prices have been through the roof. I'm going to get fined if I don't get rid of it, they said. So that prompted me to call District Selectman Tony Deloge and ask him about this letter. He said he didn't know much about it, but he would suggest that I follow whatever it says. So here we go. You know, these are some serious times right now. Since January, oil prices have been through the roof. I'm seeing more and more farmers on TikTok saying that the government's paying them to kill their fields. Agent Orange, I saw a guy with a lawnmower mowing down beans, getting paid.
Videos to a lot more people, okay? You look below, you'll see our merch store, everything you buy for our merch store, all proceeds go back into this channel. Also, if you want to promote on this channel, go to papaduckpromo@gmail.com. You want to promote this stuff, as you can see, they ain't covering none of this shit right now on TV, right? In Australia, crazy lockdown. Talking about that shit is heading this way. If you don't know nothing about martial law, you better read up on it. You know what I'm saying? What I keep trying to understand I can't understand this is, how do we go for this shit? How can a group of people control what they say? Australia got what, 25